Here we go. Draft counting down here in 3, 2, 1. And look, I remember to
Oh,
mute it. It's going to be a good draft.
I was looking at it. I want to say anything, but
And yeah, it's just the two of us in here, so we'll slow it down when we get on the clock. But there goes Matthews first overall, Hellebuck second, McKinnon third, McDavid all the way down the fourth, McCarr fifth, Brady Tkachuk sixth, David Pasternak seventh. As Chris comes on the clock here, he's got 16 seconds to go. I was going to say the Nikolai Ehlers, where he goes in drafts, that's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. And listen, mock drafts data is very incomplete at this point because only degenerates like us are either conducting it, or if you watching it, you are also a degenerate. Sorry, that's just how it is. I'm on the clock here. I like to be close to the turn, but not on the turn. I mean, listen, I'll take Nikita Kucherov at 11th overall in a 12-teamer. Let the team go back-to-back there. So Chris takes Leon Draisaitl, certainly not a hard pick to make it 8. Philip Forsberg at 9. Matthew Tkachuk at 10. I take Kucherov at 11. Ottinger and Vasilevsky. This is also the thing. The ESPN, mock computers don't really necessarily do a good job. Nobody's taking goalies back-to-back there. I'm going to grab Willie Nylander, as he's going to be relied on to score even more this year. So turning around here with Kucherov and Nylander as my cornerstone forward. Certainly happy with that. Kyle Connor goes after him in round 2, pick 3. Artemi Panarin, round 2, pick 4. I can't believe that contract's coming to a close here. It's been quite a long time.
That's true. He's been around forever. Absolutely wild that they have like Macklin Celebrini right up there as well. Cole Caulfield as well. I appreciate the respect, but we can't get those players anymore at a discount.
And yeah, that's the thing. Like, the ESPN rankings, even after the fact that it's early in this mocking season, the rankings are going to be all out of whack, but ESPN's rankings are always out of whack. Whereas I feel like Yahoo, the first draft, usually come in with close to a decent place to start there. All right. So, Chris on the clock here. Let's recap some of the picks made. After Chris took, let's see here. So after Panarin, Kaprizov went to Chris, then Celebrini, round 2, pick 6, Shesterkin, round 2, pick 7, Caulfield, Ovechkin, Gustafsson, Jack Hughes, Mikko Rantanen, Jack Eichel, Roman Josi, Sergei Bobrovsky, Steven Stamkos, Dustin Wolf, Jake Gensel, Mackenzie Weegar, and then with round 3, pick 8, Rasmus Dahlin goes, Aiden Hill team, round 3, pick 9, and Tim Stutzel, round 3, pick 10. Yes, I have to look at defense here. As we know, those things tend to go. Listen, Evan Bouchard's still very much a part of a very potent Oilers power play. I'm not going to really overlook it here. I know Quinn Hughes is available too, but in a league where goals are going to matter more, I'm going to take a guy like Bouchard as I'm milking the clock here to drag this out a little bit. So then Kirill Marchenko goes out the last pick of the 3rd round, Braden Point, first pick, round 4. And, I'm going to look at goalies now because there's been a run on them already. This was a guy that I was very happy with last year. Darcy Kemper, no reason to think I don't think he'll play as well as last year, but I think he'll still have a very good season. I'll take my first goalie, round 4, pick 2. There goes Adrian Kempe, pick 3, JT Miller, pick 4. Chris back on the clock now. So again, part of us doing this is to help make the rankings better. So, there's going to be guys we miss because ESPN's rankings are wonky. Like, oh, how did this guy go in this round? That's just how it is. And Chris can get an idea of who I'm taking. I have to share it this way. So he does get a little bit we're far enough away that we shouldn't matter each other. But let's see what he does here as he milks the clock down 5, 4. He takes Quinn Hughes. So, I mean, listen, that's the pick there. I mean, I thought about pulling the trigger on Hughes there, but I wanted to at least get one goalie locked up in this format here.
It was between him and Tage Thompson who went, and then my finger was also on Zach Werenski, who is also not there. So some choices had to be made here.
After Hughes, it's Sam Reiner, Jason Robertson, Tage Thompson, all guys that were on the Rocket Richard odds list we talked about earlier. Sidney Crosby, John Tavares, Marty Necas, Zach Werenski, there he goes to close out round 4. Elias Pettersson opens up round 5. Certainly a much lower ADP for him this year than was last year when he was being floated around the top 12. Victor Hedman, Nazem Kadri, Clayton Keller, Matt Coronado, that's a pick. Wyatt Johnston, Matt Boldy, good value there, round 5, pick 7. Mitch Marner, you could talk about that pick there with Dylan Gunther and Vinny Trocheck going after that.
Listen, Marner is going to Vegas, and he's not there to just hang out and, sip the soup. He's there to do something. So, and he's playing with Jack Eichel. Vegas's power play wasn't really elite, so I think he can probably help their power play out, and I'm very big on that. I'm okay with it.
So Shifley got overlooked and went closer to like rounds 12 last year. I'm grabbing him in round 5. I think he'll have another strong season. And then after him, Adam Fantilli and Dylan Larkin goes. I've got 10 seconds left on the clock here. Nico Hischier was the straw that stirred the drink for the Devils throughout the season. I'll certainly grab him with the second pick around 6, even though defenseman is probably, I'm going to have to start going with a few of those consecutively here since I just took only Evan Bouchard so far. There goes Dylan Holloway, a guy who was probably picked up off the waiver wire in most leagues going in round 6 because he was a vital part of that. Not that the Blues have a potent offense, but he's certainly a guy that carries whatever's there. Chris on the clock here as he milks things down after I took Hischier, DeBrincat, and Dylan Holloway. He takes Logan Thompson. He gets his first goaltender. Brandon Hagel, Jesper Bratt, Jordan Kyrou, Moritz Seider, Pavel Dorofiev, Bo Horvat, Anthony Stolars, and there goes Connor Bedard. First pick around 7. I think that's an appropriate place for him. Mika Zibanejad, Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Joey Decord. Again, the auto pick sometimes just not doing it. Nick Suzuki and Matvey Mishkov, probably 2 guys that were being considered there by Chris. Maybe they'll go off the board before he makes his 7th round pick at 80th overall.
I'm going to add another defenseman. He seems to be falling down the board, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, I know who you're taking. Yeah.
Adam Fox is not dead. He played with a bunch of plugs.
And listen, in a league where hits matter, a guy like I might take you know what? This is a guy you're high on, and it's not the guy you're thinking, but you've talked about him a fair amount. Thomas Harley. In Dallas this year, I think as a second defenseman, I'm fine with that. Brock Nelson and John Carlson going back to back there. Listen, I could do one of 2 things here, and I could either fire a shot or I could take the guy I want to take. I'm going to fire a shot. Lane Hudson. I was thinking about Sergachev. He was my defensive, guy that I wanted at around this point in the draft. Late single-digit rounds here as we're on round 8, but 60 assists. That's tough to ignore. I'll give up the 6 goals for a guy that breaks 60 assists in his rookie season.
I need. I'm gonna solidify my goaltending position because there's not much quality left. So I'm gonna take Blackwood here.
Okay. There goes. So after I take Hudson, you got Lucas Raymond, Frank Vitrano. Chris takes Mackenzie Blackwood, Logan Cooley, Joel Eriksson-Ek, Kevin Fiala going round 8, pick 8. That's some good value there. Travis Konechny, Timo Meyer, Jackson Lacombe, maybe a little high for him, although increased expectations for him. Jack Sanderson to close out round 8. Jordan Binnington owned up round 9. Josh Morrissey, Ricard Raquel, definitely a stretch there, round 9, pick 3. Alex Laferriere, a guy that flew under the radar a little bit last year, but produced for the Kings. There goes Rupe Hintz. Sasha Barkov going round 9, pick 6, some good value there. And there goes my guy Sergachev, round 9, pick 7, for Chris on the board here. So he decides who he's going to get. And he takes Matthew Knight.
Spot opened up on Toronto's power play. That's who I expect we'll see most of the time. At least I hope so.
So for me here, I got to get my second goaltender spot locked up, and maybe this guy would be gone if Ant Rivera, 86, was here today, but Jacob Markstrom, got to make sure I get my second goalie before I maybe get sniped. Luckily, I would not have. It looks like Chris Kreider, Drake Batherson go on the turn there. I got to look back at the available forwards here as you get to see what I'm going to do here. And you see like top goal scoring guys available. There's Thomas Hertl, certainly worth a consideration as I scroll down here. Jake DeBrusk, JJ Peterka, increased by expectations, but I know he's going to be on a good team, and that top line is going to get a lot of attention. That should open up some things for Hertl, so I'll take him with the second pick of the 10th round as Samuel Montembeau goes with the 3rd pick, and then Jonathan Marchessault, the 4th pick of the 10th round here. Again, format here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, we got not. What do we got? 10 forwards, 5D, 2 goalies, and some bench spots.
Everybody's forgetting how really, really good he was. I'm going to take Noah Dobson here.
Again, I want to be, the same way I want a share of what's going on in Edmonton with the upgrade that Vegas has made, adding Marner in there. I want to have a share in their top 6 and on their power play somehow as well. So there we go. After Chris makes the pick there for Noah Dobson, UC Saros, JJ Peterka, Brandon Montour, Anders Lee, Mike Matheson, Cutter Gauthier, Dylan Strome, Marco Casper, Thatcher Demko, Will Cooley, Rasmus Anderson, Tom Wilson, Freddie Anderson, and Brian Rust. That takes us up to round 11, pick 7, with Chris back on the clock here.
He's not coming around again. Newly signed Nikolai Ehlers.
And that's the guy we talked about leading into the draft, and that's, I think, a really strong pick there, especially around 11. His ADP is going to go up very much from that spot as more mock drafts happen there. Looking at see here. Listen, this is a guy that, I talked about Lane Hudson getting assists. Robert Thomas, also as the top center in St. Louis, also racks up assists there. We expect a better team out of them. So I'll take another forward there. Then Tyler Toffoli, Mason Marchment go. I'm looking to get another defenseman here. Let's take a look at the guys available to me. Again, power play points matter. I'm looking at a Luke Hughes here, but I feel like a Seth Jones playing on the Florida Panthers now. That's too good to ignore. The guy who's ADP certainly going up. I'll take a chance on him. Round 12, pick 2. Chris Letang goes after that, and Owen Tippett with Chris back on the clock here.
Speaking of players who can do something, he's still on a very good team. If he doesn't get in trouble, we should be just fine. Valeri Nichushkin.
A vital part of that Colorado top 6 when he's a part of the roster, and they have a better roster this year. One of the things we've talked about in past seasons with the Avalanche is they have lack of depth. That's not the case with them anymore, either with their forward unit or their blue line. So let's see here. After Nichushkin, Brock Faber, Charlie McAvoy, Gabe Velarde, Brad Marchand going around 12, pick 9. Andrei Svechnikov certainly is fallen down. His ADP should come back up at some point. Round 12, pick 10. Marco Rossi and Jacob Chikrin round out round 12. Neil Pionk, Ryan O'Reilly, Mason McTavish, Darnell Nurse, Brock Besser, round 3. That's a guy that you could get a lot of value out of if he could light the lamp. Dmitry Voronikov with the Blue Jackets. And there goes Stu Skinner, round 13, pick 7. And Alex Lafreniere. Listen, low risk.
Remember the first overall pick?
That guy? Yeah, the guy that hasn't delivered.
Is like maybe there's some extra playing time for him with Mike Sullivan around on that top power play unit. He did get a little bit, but not enough.
Well, let's see here. I got to keep looking at forwards here. But again, when I get thrown off when I don't have center, left wing, right wing, but that's just how it goes. Out at this point on the clock, give me Andrei Kopitar. He's still relied on to produce in the Kings, even though he's starting to get a little long in the tooth. No production drop or very minimal. And the Kings still a good team out west. There goes Geno Malkin and Dougie Hamilton after that. I could go forward. I could go defense here. Maybe I'd look at the goaltending spot and try and lock up a quality third guy. Listen, I know you're not really that high on the Ducks this year, but they are going to – this is Lucas Dostal's crease to lose. Mrazek is just there as an insurance policy to play every 5th night. He's going to get his opportunities, but no, I'm going to take Jeremy Swayman instead. I talked him up, but at this point, I feel like as bad as the Bruins are going to be, Swayman's going to play a ton. They're paying him a lot. He's their guy. As a third goalie, fine. I pulled it, and I'm sure that happens too when you're doing drafts. You're like, I'm on this guy, I'm talking about this guy, and here we go. Chris on the clock here after Swayman, Miro Heiskanen, Connor Garland goes. Heiskanen, round 14, pick 3. Certainly a strong pick there, a guy that gets overlooked.
This pick. What we're gonna do?
Morgan Riley, but round 14, pick 5. What are you going to do?
At least, listen, I don't think the Leafs are going to go to a 5-man, like a 5-forward power play. The Leafs just have nobody on the back end that's going to contribute any. I also lied because I said I wasn't going to take a Toronto Maple Leaf player. I did, but that is, that's Morgan Riley's fault for being there.
All right, so let's recap the picks since Chris's pick of Morgan Riley. Fabian Zetterlund just signed with Ottawa. Jonathan Huberdeau, Trevor Zegras in Philly there. Charlie Lindgren, Gustav Forsling, Evander Kane, and Tyson Forrester to round out round 14. Round 15, Zach Bolduc, Matthew Olivier looking for those hits and those penalty minutes there. Barrett Hayton, Lucas Dostal goes around 15, pick 4. Jake DeBrusk, Jake Wallman, William Eklund, Morgan Geekie, the guy there. He's going to be on the Bruins top line. I assume he's going to just get some points from skating with Pasternak, Hanifin, and Linus Ullmark. That's probably the guy I should have taken instead of Swayman there. But again, these rankings are a little wonky. First draft of the year.
That's probably.
I could go one of two ways here. No, I won't do that yet. All right. I can make a better pick here, but Ryan Donato, he's going to skate with Bedard, it looks like. Maybe for the same reason you took Geekie That's why I take Donato there. A little bit of a reach, but the clock was running out on me. Oh, there goes Will Smith. So William Eklund and Will Smith. I got no share of the Sharks right now. That bothers me.
Damn.
And I'm back on the clock here. I know we don't value plus minus as a stat, but I don't want to totally punt on it. And Devin Taves skating with Cale Makar certainly helps with that. And as a fifth defenseman, I'll take that.
I need a backup goalie or at least somebody on the roster to help out. And I guess I'm going to believe in the Columbus Blue Jackets a little bit here, but I don't think anybody's taking Jet Greaves' spot.
I mean, if they're going to take a step forward this year, he's going to have a big part of that. So let's see. After I took Taves, Matt Duchene, Dylan Cousins, Chris takes Jet Greaves, Kyle Palmieri, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Drew Doughty, Brady Shea, Nick Schmaltz, Elias Lindholm, Eli Tolvanen wraps up round 16. Keandre Miller, maybe a little bit of an overlooked defenseman there. Kicks off round 17. Sean Dursey, Anthony Cirelli, Kent Johnson, Jacob Trouba, Braden Shen, and Tristan Jarry. Now Chris back on the clock here. I can't imagine he loves what he's got available to him, but
Do you think this is the year for Cole Perfetti, or is he just going to get the Ehlers treatment?
I would think if Winnipeg's going to take that step, they got to let him. They got to let him cook. No,
they better.
All right, so here we go. So Perfetti, Barzal, Caden Gould goes. I'll take a shot. I want a piece of the Avalanche here. Give me Arturi Lehkonen. He finds himself, even if he's not in the top 6, he's the first guy to get bumped up if somebody gets hurt. Elvis Merzlikins, Adam Larson go after I go. So I've got, let's see here. I've got a utility, a few bench spots to go here. I mean, I could take a Mark Stone. I know I don't want to go. I could look at one of the caps here. You know what? I'm going to take a Connor McMichael here. I think that's a good value pick in round 18. This is where you take shots. Blake Coleman, Brent Clark, certainly a strong defensive pick there. As at some point the torch will have to be passed from Drew Doughty to Brent Clark. Could be this year.
It's not that many players I'm high on right off the rip here. The computers kept me honest. I'm gonna go because I had him queued up here. I'm gonna go with the future Rookie of the Year winner. To add some extra little spice to my lineup.
Round 18. There goes Buchnevich. I think that's a little late for him. In a format where it's forward defense, I don't love having a ton of guys on the same team. It's a little different when there's different positions to break it up. But there, let's see. So Chris is going to be back on the clock in a second there. So he takes Demidov, then goes Nugent Hopkins. It's a little late for him. Slafkovsky goes 2 picks after Chris goes. Bjorkstrand, Simone Edvinson, Pavel Buchnevich, Warren Fogle, Matt Zuccarello, Logan Stankoven, Lawson Krause, Brent Burns, John Gibson. Good late round goalie pick there. He's going to get the bulk of the workload as long as his health allows it. Jared Spurgeon, Shea Theodore, Patrick Crane, round 19, pick 7. Chris takes Thomas Shabbat, then Matthias Ekholm and Joseph Wall, and I'm back on the clock. All right, I'm going to take. Listen,
do it.
Matthias Michelli. I mean, listen, I don't think he's going to have 85 points. I even think 70 is a little lofty, but like you said, at a 60, 65 point performance, it's not out of the realm of possibility. As Alex Vlasic goes, Troy Terry goes, and I'm back on the clock. I want to get my last defenseman squared up here. I mean, Luke Hughes still being available here. I think I got to take him as my bench defenseman. Sure. Round 20, pick 2. Jason Zucker, Karel Vejmelka goes. I've got 2 rounds here. We're in round 20 of 22. A couple of spots left to fill on our bench, whether people go with goalies, defensemen. Quentin Byfield, I was thinking about him. I knew he probably wouldn't get back to me, but I thought maybe I could wait on him. But he was a guy I was considering too.
Hanging around a little too long.
Great pick.
Couldn't just let him keep there.
There goes Sean Monahan, Leo Carlson, close round 20 and open round 21. Jamie Benn, Jake Middleton, Jake Neighbors, good pick there, round 21, pick 4. Kale Backlund, Cam York, Teuvo Teravainen. Chris back on the clock here.
I don't have a player queued up, but I mean,
there's really no goalies worth taking at this point. Any goalie worth rostering is off.
I'm going to take a stab here. I mean, he's going to get to play. Mikael Granlund's not going to Anaheim to say hi.
And he gets well-rounded minutes. He could play power play. He could play penalty kill. So that's I like that as a penultimate pick there. Then goes Shane Wright, Tyler Bertuzzi. I'm back on the clock. And this is where you got to like scroll down and maybe find that, improperly ranked guy. Is this a spot where like, okay, like Taylor Hall maybe gets leaned a little bit more on? I don't know. You know what? I thought about this guy a couple of times. Mark Stone. Why not? Piece of Vegas again. I don't love to have too many guys in the top there, but I'll have Hurdle and I'll have Stone. There goes Bunting and Romanov, and I'm back on the clock here. And I think I want to take a second. I have bench defensemen, so I'm just going to kind of scroll through. Cam Fowler, full season in St. Louis. You got Ivan Provorov staying there in Colorado. Let's see who gets power play points. Who's left? Lowry, Dunn, Falk, Ekblad. I don't want two Panthers. 3-2. I'm gonna have to pick somebody real quick here. I'm gonna take Fowler. I end up with Claude Giroux on the auto pick. There goes Vince Dunn and Justin Falk after me. So all right, whatever. I don't mind Claude Giroux.
Oh, I guess I'll take a stab here at a Chicago player. Like they can't be miserable. Well, they will be, but let's go with Nazar.
I like that pick, and that's the thing I should have thought more about. I could have taken like a Missa there, having my share of the Sharks. And to close out the draft, Nazar, Provorov, Beniers, Hartman, Carlson, Lindell, Taylor Hall, and Kochetkov. Not a bad way to go with Carolina. All right, so let's take a look at the board here and let it. It's not going to let me maximize it as more than this because again, ESPN stink. Can I like collapse this window? No, I can't. All right. So let's take a look at Chris's team first here on the left. And then we got Leon Draisaitl, Kirill Kaprizov, Mitch Marner, Matthew Nyes, Nikolai Ehlers, Valerie Nichushkin, Alex Lafreniere, Morgan Geeky, Cole Perfetti rounds out his starting forwards, Rasmus Dahlin, Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox, Noah Dobson, Morgan Riley. That's a strong defensive core there. Demidov is the utility. His goaltenders are Logan Thompson, Mackenzie Blackwood, Jet Greaves on his bench, Thomas Shabbat, Quentin Byfield, Mikael Granlund, Frank Nazar. It's pretty good first mock of the season for you.
Yeah, the bench is not fantastic. That defense core again, though, very, very good. I hate that the computer is caught on because Cale Makar went 5th, and I feel like, which is exactly where I probably have to be to take him. It would probably be another reach there, but no, it was. Listen, anytime you can get Draisaitl, Kaprizov, right, like Marner, these are guys who can. Like they're going to rack up their points, right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for guys who can rack up points, score goals. Matthew Nyes is going to get a power play opportunity now that Mitch Marner is not there. He's going to skate with Matthews 5-on-5. I expect him to get as many opportunities as possible. Nikolai Ehlers, again, another good spot for him to be. Listen, Dahlin, Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox. I mean, these are guys who can pick up points. I know goals are important, but I'll let my forwards deal with that, and I'll let my defensemen go out there and just rack up points, right? Same thing with Dobson. If I can get 55, 60 points out of, Dahlin, Hughes, Fox, and Dobson, each one of them, then I think I'm okay. The goaltending is good. Logan Thompson's going to play. The Capitals are a good team. Blackwood's going to play as well. So you're just targeting a little bit of volume here. I also try to focus on taking one goalie from the East and one goalie from the West so they don't have to play each other too often. Jet Greaves, I'm just hoping he'll get enough of the net. And then it's just good bargains, right? You're looking at guys like Valerie Nichushkin. Can he continue to get, top power play minutes? Yes. Geeky, the same thing, top power play minutes. Yes. We'll see what happens with Cole Perfetti. I really hope Winnipeg now gives him the opportunity that he needs. Same thing with Lafreniere. I'm trying to target guys who are going to be in good spots, top power play unit opportunities, and then the same thing for Demidov. I mean, the skill is there, and during the regular season, like it was unfortunate that much out to play the Capitals. The Capitals are they were stacked. They were a really good team, and they demonstrated that. But Demidov's going to get the opportunity to pick on some not good teams like the Senators, like the Sabres. He's going to get to pick on Anaheim, San Jose, Chicago. He's going to get to pick on some low-level teams that are not going to be good defensively. And the skill is just off the charts for this kid. So that's probably the player I'm going to be targeting in a lot of late round drafts. If I'm looking for maximum upside, I'm taking a young player on a team that's just going to go out there. The same thing for, San Jose. You had mentioned it with Misa. I want guys that are going to get an ample amount of opportunities to go out there and just play a bunch.
And yeah, listen, Quentin Byfield expected to take, he played very well last year. He's still got room to go higher than that. And like you said, Mikael Granlund, as a late round pick, Nazar talks, fits the description of, young guys that could boom this year. Granlund's going to play a ton of minutes there. So yeah, very strong first start for you in the first mock of the summer. I go towards the end of the draft on the snake, pick 11, get Kucherov. Listen, Nikita Kucherov sitting there at the 11th overall. I mean, I got to take that. And then William Nylander. I love the way things started there. I got two guys who put the puck in the net, play on the top power play unit, get assists. Nylander could have even more this year as Marner's gone, and they're going to rely on him more. And yes, getting a defense is important. Defenseman is important, especially when you got to skate 5 of them. I'm fine with taking Bouchard in round 3 and at least getting Darcy Kemper locked up in round 4. He's going to be the guy the Kings rely on again. And then, Mark Scheifele, Nico Hischier getting, making sure that forward position's really taken care of, having 4 strong guys there that produce consistently. That's another thing that I look for is I can't stand peaks and valleys. I'd rather a guy produce consistently and not have that as high a ceiling than a guy who can really have a high ceiling. Like I'd rather just count on the consistency, and that's what I'm building on there. Maybe as a second defenseman, Thomas Harley. Don't love that. Adam Fox. If you don't take him, I grab him. But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. It's not the worst thing in the world. He's on a very good team. He's going to be on the top power play unit. I get Lane Hudson there. I want to share that Montreal firepower. Make sure I have my defenseman locked up. And then as we go along, I think is a pretty good goalie too, and Jacob Markstrom. Maybe what I have to do there is go handcuff and take Jake Allen versus maybe wait a little later versus taking that pick on Swayman that we'll get to in a minute. Tomas Hertl, Robert Thomas, 2 guys who are fixtures in their team's top 6s, and we expect Vegas to be good this year. I like that Seth Jones pick now that he's in Florida for a full year. And then looking at Kopitar, again, that consistency model matters there. Maybe Lafreniere, I take him if you don't take him there. And on the backswing, this is where maybe I make a mistake in taking Jeremy Swayman when I still had a Miro Heiskanen on the board, or, a William Eklund, which, listen, the plus minus ain't going to be there, but he plays a lot for the Sharks. He's trusted to play in all situations on that roster. Olmark, if I was going to go goalie, probably should have been the guy I take there. But hey, maybe Swayman has a really good season and it's tremendous value on around 14. I'm grasping at straws there. Nonetheless, Swayman in the 14th round, whatever. Don't love the Donato pick there. That was kind of a panic pick. But there's nobody really else that went in that stretch that I'm like, maybe I should have taken them instead. So I don't, not a ton of buyer's remorse there. Love Devin Taves just because he skates on that Colorado top pairing and with, Carb where he goes. He's a nice guy as a last defenseman. And then it's just like you said, trying to get value in guys that play in top 6s or have a chance to take that step this year, like a Michelli or a McMichael. Arturi Lehkonen, shorthanded points matter in some leagues, and he's going to get you that. Luke Hughes, is a boom prospect. And then rounding out, again, Claude Giroux, kind of a panic, the clock ran out on me. Maybe that's where I take Misa instead. Instead of Giroux. I don't mind Mark Stone there, again, being part of that Vegas. Maybe if Granlund is there, I take them. Another guy, that's a problem when you do a podcast with a guy for a while is you start to think alike. When they pick before you, that's that. So overall, I'm happy with my first draft. Michelli in round 19, that's an ADP that's not going to last. That's a guy that's going to start going higher and higher as you get more of those mocks in. Probably the same for McMichael and definitely for a guy like Devin Taves. But hey, we take advantage of it while ESPN's rankings are all completely out of whack.
Take advantage of ESPN not. They did update. Alexander Georgiev did not get picked, I think. So making progress.
It's an improvement. Yes. I mean, and that's, hey, Yaroslav Askarov. Maybe that's a guy that was not taken that he's going to get volume. He's not going to get a lot of wins. So if wins are valued, but if it's just you need a guy that's out there and going to play, you know, goals against may not be great, but probably better than last year overall for San Jose, maybe. Save percentage, Askarov can have those nights. I could see him, pulling a couple of shutouts out of where that he has no business doing.
You play goalies like that in good matchups, right? Like if the matchup's there and it's worth it, maybe he's not a Tuesday, Thursday kind of Saturday, right? The bigger slates, but if in the division, he's going to have to play Calgary a bunch. He's going to have to play Vancouver a bunch. He's going to have to play Anaheim a bunch. Like there's going to be opportunities. You may not want to start him, in Vegas, in Edmonton, kind of thing. The Kings were absolutely lethal on the road, and maybe that's a reverse split there. But I mean, no, sorry, they were elite at home, so maybe not play him when you're in LA and stuff like that. But when you're taking those third and fourth goalies, you're looking for the matchup, and there's nothing wrong with looking at a matchup and saying, hey, I'm not going to start him. You don't have to start the goalie every time you have him. You can make an executive choice. Hindsight will always be 2020, so if he pops off, great. But fantasy is a long season, and trust the numbers.
Handcuffs matter with certain goalie tandems. If you're going to take Thatcher Demko, you need to take Kevin Lankinen. Me taking Markstrom, I probably should have, instead of taking Swayman there, just waited and take Jake Allen later on in the draft. So handcuffs can be important. I will say this: if you're forced into taking a backup, and it's a league where like goalies are at a premium, so you don't want to stream guys and matchups, take backups on good teams, because those guys are usually on a back-to-back are going to get the crappier team, so they have a better chance at putting up a good number. So that's something to consider too. If you're forced to taking a backup and it's not a handcuff situation, take those backups on the better teams. Maybe not, like a Winnipeg Connor Hellebuck situation, but a lot of other teams, that backup's going to play, and he's usually going to get, we'll say the starting goalie is going to play the tougher team 9 times out of 10 in a back-to-back. So you get those favorable matchups.
Or Freddie Anderson's backup could check off.
Freddie Anderson.
It's just, Freddie Anderson's falling apart at some point. Man's made of glass, so the question of if, the question of when.
I'd be last year's Ilya Sorokin and Varlamov. While Varlamov was healthy, was more of a traditional split. I wonder if Sorokin gets back to being more of like a lion's share in the crease kind of guy. I'm trying to look at other teams where like handcuffs matter.
Even if he does, though, like I don't expect the Islanders to be very good. He's going to go out there and he's going to be a situation where he's probably going to have good numbers, but terrible record.
We'll have to do an episode on goalie handcuff rankings, but another one I'm looking at too, just because he's not. And listen, I know he thrives on playing a lot, but Bobrovsky may not play as much this year. If the plan is for the Florida Panthers to be this dynasty that's going to win at least 2 more cups over the next 3 or 4 years, let's say. I understand Bobrovsky's only got so much time left, but I could see Tarasov not being a mandatory handcuff to Bobrovsky, but probably a smart one to have.
Good. Like you said, backup goalies on good teams. Like the team in front of you makes a difference, right? Like that's an important part. And like you said, he's probably going to get the more favorable matchup. It might be the back-to-back, unfortunately. And, sometimes those don't go well. But again, take your shot. See what see if the matchup makes sense. If it does, roll it. And listen, you don't have to, just because they're handcuffed doesn't mean they have to be tied to you. Like you can look for value somewhere else, right? When it makes more sense. So like, don't get attached to these players. They don't know you. They most certainly don't love you. Just, if it doesn't make sense, let them go out, find somebody new. It doesn't matter where you picked them. Once your draft is over, it does not matter where you picked him. That is a you problem, not a me problem afterwards. So don't get attached to players because you took him at this place. Just, make good choices.